You ever feel your heart stop, not from fear, not from surprise, but from sheer disbelief? That sickening, hollow slam of realization that everything you built, everything you gave, was just a stage prop in someone else's game? Yeah, that was me. It was a Saturday night. I had just finished setting up the final touches on the custom-made oak seating chart for our wedding. Stained by hand, names of guests engraved into tiny golden plates. I was proud of it. That kind of work, that attention to detail, it came from love. Commitment. I was scrolling through Instagram, mostly absent-mindedly, just killing time before bed, when a notification popped up. Samantha is live now, Bachelorette weekend Vegas party popper bottle with popping cork. Samantha, my fiancée, my almost wife. I tapped on it. I should have swiped away. I should have turned off the phone, laid back, and pretended life was still whole. But curiosity, no, trust, got the better of me. The live stream kicked in. Blurry lights. Music pounding. Girls screaming. That messy, chaotic energy only Vegas can produce. I saw her center screen. She was wearing a tight white dress, hugging her like second skin, with a glittering bride TOB sash draped across her shoulder. Her lipstick was smeared. Her heels were in her hand. She was drunk. Or pretending to be. Samantha always knew how to perform. And then I heard her voice. Loud. Clear. Slurred just enough to sound fun, but sober enough to mean every word. Should I even marry him? She laughed into the camera, cocking her head to the side. Her bridesmaids howled with laughter. One shouted, "Girl, you could do so much better." Another chimed in with, "Just give him a farewell gift tonight and ghost him tomorrow." I froze. It wasn't just a joke. It was how easily she said it. Like I was some stupid afterthought. A fool waiting at the altar. I stared at the screen. Heart thudding. Face burning. Hands shaking, but not from rage yet. Just the cold realization that she didn't see me the way I saw her. That I was the only one playing for keeps. I opened the chat on the live stream. Typed slowly. Deliberately. Don't bother. Then I closed the app. I didn't throw the phone. I didn't scream. I just stood there. Like someone had carved out my insides and left a breathing shell behind. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and stared at the sink. 10 minutes. That's all it took to end 3 years of memories. 3 years of sacrifices. Of skipped vacations. Of buying her favorite overpriced lattes. Of working overtime to afford her dream venue. I picked up my phone again, typed in the venue's number, and texted. Cancel the wedding. Effective immediately. The message was delivered. Read. Replied. Understood. We're sorry to hear that. 30 seconds later, my phone started ringing. Caller ID. Amanda, maid of honor. Of course. I let it ring. Twice. 3 times. Then I answered. Jake. Jake, what the hell is going on? Why did you cancel the venue? Her voice was frantic, shaking. But not with guilt. No. Panic. Like the show was falling apart. Like the stage lights just blew out. She was joking, Amanda gasped. It was just a joke. You can't seriously, I'm done, I said flatly. Tell her to enjoy the rest of her night. And tell her she doesn't have to worry about marrying someone beneath her anymore. Then I hung up, and silence came. Not peace. Just that cold, sterile silence that fills a room when reality finally lands. I sat on the floor of our apartment, surrounded by wedding invites, gift boxes, rented linens, and stupid little decorations labeled Mr. and Mrs. and Forever Starts Today. What a joke. And I hadn't even gotten to the part where I found the messages between her and the guy from her office. But that's next. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat there, back against the wall, phone in my lap, replaying that stream in my head like some cursed reel I couldn't shut off. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd hear her voice again. That laugh. That smug tilt of her head when she asked if she should even marry me, as if I was the charity case in this whole damn thing. Around 3 a.m., I finally opened her laptop. Not out of suspicion, just impulse. But maybe some part of me knew. The screen blinked awake, no password. She always said, I have nothing to hide. Yeah, that aged like milk. Her messages were still open. Slack, Instagram, WhatsApp. Too many places to keep track. But one thing was clear, this wasn't just some drunken joke. This had been going on. The first name I saw was Bryce. My stomach dropped. The guy from her work? She always said he was married. Like an older brother, she once called him. I clicked into the thread. You better enjoy this week. After next Saturday, I'll be wearing a leash. Not if we keep doing this in secret smirking face. Jake's so clueless. Her guy actually ironed my robe this morning. He's such a husband already, too bad he's not the one who knows how to handle me. I stopped reading. I had to. It wasn't even the messages, it was the tone. That way she made me sound like a fool. Like some obedient little mutt fetching her Starbucks while she played house and rehearsed her betrayal behind my back. I closed the laptop. Walked into the bedroom. Her side of the bed still smelled like perfume. Vanilla and citrus. I stood there for a long time just looking at the indentation where she used to sleep. The clock said 4:12 a.m. I packed a bag. No big drama. No broken mirrors. I just grabbed enough to disappear for a few days. She didn't even know I had keys to my old apartment still, the one I kept as a backup rental. She thought I'd given them to my cousin months ago. Funny how the lies went both ways. As I stepped out the door, the hallway light flicked on behind me. My phone buzzed again. 10 missed calls from Amanda. 3 from her mom. 1 text from Samantha herself. Jake. Stop. It was a joke. Call me. A joke. I turned the phone off. When I got to the apartment, the floor was dusty, the air stale, but I'd never felt more grounded. I dropped my bag, kicked off my shoes, and just stood there. No ring on my finger, no pressure on my chest. Just the quiet echo of truth finally being louder than all her lies. By noon the next day, my inbox was a war zone. Apologies. Explanations. Half-hearted justifications. Her sister even wrote me saying I was overreacting and should talk it out like adults. She had no idea, did she? None of them did. Because it wasn't just about the joke. It was about all the little cracks that came before. The way she'd roll her eyes when I talked about work. The time she said she was too tired, but always had the energy to go out with her girlfriends. The way she flinched whenever I tried to plan something for us, as if stability was boring and I was the anchor dragging her down. And yet I kept giving, kept believing, kept trying to be the man she'd fall in love with again, not realizing she already checked out long ago. But now? Now she'd have to face a wedding canceled midstream. A guest list that would wonder why there was no ceremony. Vendors asking for refunds. A world that would watch the fairy tale burn before the first chapter was even read. And I wasn't going to clean up her ashes. I just lit the match. By Monday morning, she was outside my old apartment door. I don't know how she found it. Maybe Amanda told her. Maybe she still had some address saved from years ago when we were just dating. But there she was, standing in the hallway, oversized sunglasses hiding most of her face, holding an iced coffee like that would somehow make her look less like a wreck. She knocked 3 times. I didn't move. 4th knock. Then her voice. Jake. Please. I opened the door just enough to see her, but kept the chain lock on. Her face was pale, no makeup, lips trembling, but not from sadness. From fear. Fear of losing the show. The stage. Me? I think I was just the backdrop in her little life production. I don't even know where to start, she whispered. Try with Bryce. That hit her like a slap. She blinked hard. Didn't expect me to know that name, I guess. She looked down at her feet, adjusted the strap of her purse. When she looked up again, the performance began. That was nothing. Stupid office flirting, Jake. You're blowing this way out of. I slammed the door shut. She started banging on it. Loud, desperate. You can't be serious. You're gonna end everything because I made one joke on a live stream? You don't even understand the pressure I'm under. I opened the door again, slow this time. Calm. Samantha. You called me clueless to another man. You told him I didn't know how to handle you. You called our relationship a leash. And you made a mockery of our wedding publicly. Live streamed it like a comedy set. Don't you dare stand here and pretend it was just a joke. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then, she switched tactics. You know what? Maybe I did joke. Maybe I did flirt. But you were never enough, Jake. You're stable. Safe. But boring as hell. I kept waiting for something to change, but it never did. You just kept being dependable. She said it like it was a curse. You wanted a golden retriever, I said. Not a husband. She smirked. No apology. No regret. Just this cold, smug face that told me everything I needed to know. Maybe I did, she said. I closed the door again. No yelling. No threats. Just the end. Quiet and solid like concrete settling. She left after 20 minutes of pacing the hallway and yelling into her phone. Probably texting every friend we had in common to spin the narrative before I could. But I didn't care anymore. I spent the next week canceling everything. Dress? Gone. Venue deposit? Lost. Photographer? Refunded partially. Her father called once to ask if this was just a spat. I sent him the live stream clip. Never heard back. Friends started picking sides. The ones who mattered reached out and said, "Good for you, man." The rest? Let them think what they want. It's strange how fast love can turn into a cautionary tale. I thought I knew her. Thought I was building something real. But Samantha wasn't building a life. She was building a highlight reel. And when the story didn't suit her anymore, she flipped the script. Made me the villain. The dull one. The anchor holding her down. But she forgot. Anchors don't sink alone. They drag everything with them. By Friday, she'd changed her tone. No more insults. No more dramatics. Just long, rambling text messages that read like bad screenplays. "I miss the way you used to look at me. Remember the first night we moved in together? You lit candles even though we didn't have furniture. I was just scared, Jake. Scared of commitment. Scared of becoming something predictable. Predictable. That word again. Like loyalty was a weakness. Like building a life together was some outdated notion for boring people. I read every word, not because I cared anymore, but because I wanted to see if she'd ever admit it. The cheating. The betrayal. The choice. She never did. Bryce? Not mentioned once. By Sunday, I decided to go back to the apartment and pick up the rest of my things. I didn't tell her. I figured she was out with one of her friends spinning the story like a PR disaster. But when I unlocked the door, the lights were on. She was sitting on the couch, legs crossed, wearing the hoodie I left behind. Mine. Acting like this was still her world, and I was just a visitor. "Jake," she said softly, like we were starting over. "I've been thinking." "Don't." "No, listen. I know I messed up. But people mess up all the time. And they fix it. They work through it. Don't throw away 3 years just because I got caught being a little reckless." "Reckless?" I laughed. "You weren't reckless. You were deliberate. Calculated. You said I was boring while you played dress-up with your coworkers and humiliated me in front of the world. That's not reckless, that's cruel. I didn't mean for that live stream to go like that. But you meant the messages. And the flirting. And whatever the hell happened in Bryce's car 2 weeks ago." Her face dropped. So she knew I knew. She stood up. "I told you I was drunk. He kissed me. That's all." I read the thread. "You told him what you were wearing. You asked if his wife would be home. Don't lie again." The switch flipped. "You act like you're some perfect saint," she snapped. "Like you never made me feel invisible. You think being reliable is enough? You think just showing up makes you husband material?" I stared at her. Really looked at her. This wasn't guilt. This was anger that her performance had been exposed. That the crowd had seen behind the curtain. "You don't love me," I said calmly. She looked away. Her silence said it all. "You love the idea of me. The guy who'd fix your broken shelf. Pay the rent. Smile in photos. Clap when you posted half-naked pictures and called it confidence." She crossed her arms, defiant now. "You want to believe you're the victim? Go ahead," I said. "But don't expect applause when the act's over." I walked into the bedroom, grabbed my last 2 boxes, and carried them out past her like she was furniture. She didn't follow me. Didn't beg. Just stood there, arms crossed, lip quivering not from sadness. From defeat. And maybe a little bit of hate. Because I didn't crumble. Because I saw her for what she was. And didn't flinch. The hallway outside our old apartment felt different on the way out. Colder. Not physically, but like the air itself refused to carry any warmth from her direction. I didn't look back. Not even once. I knew if I did, she'd still be standing there, arms crossed, lip curled, convinced this was some temporary tantrum. That I'd be back once I calmed down. She never believed I could actually walk away. That's what made it easier. I loaded the boxes into my trunk and drove off. No music, no calls, just silence. The kind of silence that lets your thoughts finally land after being suspended in chaos. I thought about the first time we met. She was bold and too confident, wild, magnetic. I mistook manipulation for charm, fire for passion. I kept telling myself she was just misunderstood, fiery. But fire doesn't build a home. It burns one down. 3 weeks passed before I heard from her again. She didn't call. Didn't show up. She emailed. Subject, closure. It was long. 3 pages, probably written over days. The first half was rehearsed guilt. Buzzwords like healing, personal growth, accountability. She said she was starting therapy. Said she realized she had attachment issues. Claimed she was reflecting. The second half was different. It bled with resentment. She accused me of embarrassing her. Said I ruined her reputation. That canceling the wedding in front of everyone was cruel. That she lost followers. That the bridesmaids were traumatized. Imagine that. Her friends were traumatized. Not by her betrayal, but by my silence. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. Instead, I forwarded the email to myself, then deleted it from my inbox. I wanted to keep a record of who she really was beneath the tears and the trembling voice. People like Samantha were shapeshifters, masters of reinvention, and I needed proof, if only for myself, of what I survived. A week later, Amanda messaged me. The maid of honor. The damage control specialist. She's dating Bryce now. I thought you should know. It's serious. She says it was fate. Fate. Right. I stared at the screen, and for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Not because I cared, but because I knew what came next. Bryce wasn't free. He had a wife, a kid, a mortgage. And Samantha? She didn't like playing second. She wanted a spotlight, not a secret. It was only a matter of time before she blew that up too. I blocked Amanda's number, deleted the thread, tossed my old wedding folder into the trash. Then I went outside. It was cold, but not unfriendly. The kind of chill that wakes you up, reminds you that you're alive. I walked to the corner coffee shop, the one I always meant to try but never did because Samantha hated the smell of burnt espresso. I sat by the window, ordered something strong and bitter. It tasted like clarity. A month passed. Then two. No more calls. No more drama. I started sleeping again. Not well, not deeply, but real sleep, without waking up in a sweat, without checking my phone for another ambush message. The kind of sleep that doesn't carry her voice into your dreams. I got my old gym routine back. Started going before work, earbuds in, hoodie up. Nobody there knew me as Jake and Samantha. Just Jake. Some guy lifting in the corner, staying quiet. It felt good to be invisible again, like I could reclaim the parts of me that hadn't been curated for someone else's feed. One morning, after a workout, I bumped into Kyle, an old college friend. We hadn't talked in over a year. Hey man, I heard about the wedding, he said, gripping my shoulder. That's rough. Not really, I answered, with more honesty than I expected. I dodged something ugly. He paused, nodded. You good though? For real. Getting there. And I was. Every day without her nonsense felt like a detox. No fake smiles. No walking on eggshells. No wondering which version of Samantha I was coming home to. The storm had passed, and for the first time in years, I could hear myself think. Then it happened. A Thursday afternoon, my coworker Dan walked over, phone in hand, his eyebrows raised. Dude, he said, you've got to see this. It was TikTok. Of course it was TikTok. Samantha, now calling herself Sammy J with 12.4K followers, was doing a series called Healing After Heartbreak. The first clip? Her sitting cross-legged in a candlelit room, soft music in the background, fake tears shimmering under a ring light. I was left at the altar, she whispered, abandoned by someone I thought loved me. He didn't even let me explain. Comments flooded the screen. You're so strong. His loss, queen. I would have married you on the spot. I felt nothing. Not rage. Not humiliation. Nothing. Because this was her final form. She wasn't a woman grieving a ruined love. She was an influencer mining heartbreak for likes. I had become a character in her digital soap opera. The Toxic Ex. The villain in her origin story. And she? She got applause for surviving a mess she caused. That's when it really hit me. She never wanted love. Not mine. Not anyone's. She wanted a stage. An audience. A script she could control. I just stopped watching the show. That night, I poured myself a drink, sat on my balcony, and let the cool air fill my lungs. The city moved on without her. And so did I. Weeks turned into months. The void she left behind wasn't empty, it was peaceful. I filled it with quiet mornings, solo hikes, spontaneous road trips. Things I never did when I was with her because everything always revolved around her mood, her calendar, her image. I remembered what it felt like to breathe without permission. One day, I ran into someone unexpected. Her name was Claire. A friend of a friend. Kind eyes, unfiltered laugh, no pretense. We grabbed coffee. Then dinner. She didn't post pictures. Didn't ask me about followers or filters. She asked me about books. About regrets. About music I used to love before I forgot I had taste. She didn't know the full story. I didn't tell her. Not yet. But it didn't matter. Because what I learned from Samantha, I carried like armor now, not bitterness, but awareness. I could spot performance from a mile away. And Claire wasn't performing. She was present. One night, after a long walk by the river, she asked me, do you ever regret calling it off? I didn't even have to think. No, I said. That was the smartest decision I've ever made. She nodded. She didn't push. Later that night, I opened an old box in the closet, one I hadn't touched since I left the apartment. Inside were our engagement photos, a torn RSVP list, and that custom seating chart I once spent weeks building. I picked up one of the nameplates, hers. Still golden, still perfect. I dropped it in the trash. Then I took out a pen and wrote something new on the wood beneath. Lesson learned. Because here's the truth. When someone jokes about not marrying you to the world, believe them. When someone needs attention more than connection, let them go. When someone treats your loyalty like a leash, cut it. The man I was, he needed to be destroyed for me to rebuild someone better. I'm not angry anymore. Not broken. Not even sad. Just grateful. Grateful that she showed me her mask before I said, I do. So if you're reading this and wondering what to do with the hurt, here's my advice. Don't argue with liars. Don't try to fix someone who profits off your pain. Don't chase closure. Just walk. Quietly. Fully. And never, ever look back.